Happy Friday, everybody. We're here. We're here. Let the bells ring out. And I've got three VIPs with me today from the developers of the product we're going to talk about. This is a special stream, everybody. And this special stream is going to be on the Yawman Arrow. And guess what? We've got the developers right here with us. So say hello and introduce yourself, gentlemen, and then we'll get rolling. Go ahead, John.
Yep. Hi, everybody. I am John Ostrower. I am one of the co-founders of Yawman Flight. We have spent the last 3 years developing the Arrow viewer, and we're so excited to show it to you, Howard. And we love your enthusiasm and excitement about it. When we met you at FS Expo, it so energized us to push forward and get this controller into people's hands. So up and away, I'll turn it over to Thomas, who is the brains behind all of this.
All right. Hi, Thomas.
Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. How are you doing? My name is Thomas Neal. So I am the engineering lead for Yawman Flight, and we're very excited to show you this product that we're releasing in a few days, and just looking forward to making it part of the flight sim community. Over to my right, he's out of frame, is my business partner and brother, Dwight Neal, who is over our supply chain operation. So if there's any questions about being made in the USA or anything in that capacity, some of those might get punted to him. So thank you for having us.
Well, we're really thrilled to have you guys here. I'm just saying right now in chat for them to ask all the questions that they have, and as we go through the stream. And this isn't a big, long, drawn-out group fly for hours and hours, you guys. This is look at the product, let's try it in the sim, and let's get all the questions answered in this exciting time when we launch a new product. Now, I just want everybody to realize this isn't something that I get paid for. I want to make that clear from the start. I've had people make comments like that already. I do these things because when I believe in the product, and you guys know when I look at airplanes that are done really well, I will promote those left and right if they're done so well. We saw this. Let me just start by saying, you guys, a bunch of us, Noiseboy Mike, he's in chat right now. Womby's in chat right now. Allison might be in chat. All of us who were at FS Expo, we joined John and his crew at his booth and discovered this thing. And a matter of fact, you guys, it was actually Jane from Microsoft who brought me to the booth. Howard, you got to come over and check this out and see what you think about it. Well, as Womby and I have made jokes about it, we had to wait in line because, you know, each of us were hogging this thing for so long. And so that's how we found this. And we all said, let us know when this thing's available because we think this is going to be a big hit. And so we want to get on and show you what this looks like, everybody. And these are the fellows that we met at FS Expo. And they have been working hard to bring this product out to the masses. And I say to the masses, making some prototypes is probably a great big feat for those who aren't in production or manufacturing. But when they have to bring it out in big manufacturing quantities, that's another whole big, huge mountain. And these guys have tackled both of those. So first of all, before we get started, you guys saw the picture when we first started the stream of the box that it was in. And I just want to show up a live picture of what the Yawman looks like. We've all seen the website, or if you haven't seen the website, we'll put a link in there for that. But I want to just give you guys a quick actually, I'm going to just open up a video of it and give you guys an idea of what we're talking about here first, and then we're going to ask them how they started this whole idea. So right in the middle of the screen on Twitch, you'll see there's a video of the actual controller. And this is the controller I've had now to practice with and play with and try. And this controller looks very much like your typical handheld portable Xbox controller. And that's where there could be some confusion about where does it fit in and where does it work. At the very bottom of it, and we'll go through some more of this as we start working with profiles, one of the things that really impressed me were the verniers you see on the very bottom here. These verniers are like we have in the airplane, which is not on your typical Xbox controller, and they go in and out, of course. And as a lot of you know here in the stream, these can be mapped to anything, but they have very well done given us some profiles that we can work with. Another thing that I already liked about this on first glance was the trim wheel. See if I can get that in frame right here. It's hard to do. All right, so in frame without being blurred, there's a trim wheel, you guys, right there. Look at it up and down. A trim wheel. We all know when we fly planes, trim wheel is important. Well, there's the trim wheel. And then over here, the two sliders that I use here. In our basic GA profile, we use these sliders for your mixture and your throttle. Now, when you put all of those together, there's certainly a lot of other functions. And at the very back end, if I can get that back in frame too, at the very back end, you'll see some triggers like they are on Xbox controllers. And these are your rudder triggers. And so everything you need is here underneath both of your hands, whether it be flying the plane, trimming the plane, managing the engine, or doing any of the other autopilot and other functions. It's all right here with your two hands. So now I can control, and a lot of you know I have a ton of hardware here in my studio for flying yokes, sticks, helicopters, collectives, all the stuff that I use for flying. This replaces it all. And I'm not about to take all my hardware away, but this is great for portable use. And we'll talk about its uses and we'll see it in action. And I'm going to demonstrate as we go along so you guys can see how this works. But that's the product we're talking about. For those who have tuned in, have never seen it before, this is the Yawman Arrow. All right, so John, back to you. What I'm going to do is ask, first of all, how did this idea come about? Because this, I think, is just in the last few years you've been working on it, and now it's finally being released. I think Monday it starts available
Monday
for shipping.
It is, yeah.
Monday it is, right?
Yep. I'll hit the big point right up top. Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern time, the Yawman will go on sale. The Arrow will be ready for purchase. And this is not pre-order. This is not like pre-order and you wait for weeks and months for it to deliver. This is pre-order. So this is order and then we're shipping. This is immediate availability. Our supply chain is ready to rock. Our factory is building right here in the USA. So that's the big headline takeaway from all of this. So we'll share those links in just a minute. But yep, this is the Arrow, and we have spent the last 3 years putting it together. And for the design inspiration, I will 100% turn to Thomas on this one, because he literally came up with this like a mad scientist in his garage during the middle of the pandemic.
Did he do the hand thing like this, John? Did he go boo hoo ha 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 ha? That kind of mad scientist thing. Just kidding.
More Walter White than Dr. Frankenstein.
Okay, all right. We got the vision now. Okay, we got it.
Thanks, John. Yeah. So let's see. So when I first started to get back into flight simulation, I had a myriad of reasons for it. I also just missed the hobby, but I really wanted to be mobile. I've always been very mobile centric in my work, and how I interacted with it, and always traveling. And I really wanted to take flight simulation with me. And I tried to use conventional controllers, and I started to create a wish list of things that were missing. And it started with the rudder triggers. And I said, it'd be nice if the triggers would alternate back and forth, just like pedals in a real aircraft. And I said, of course, adding some sliders would make sense. And I said, you know what? It needs a wheel for multifunction, or more likely trim. And then I also had the idea of the vernier pulls on the bottom, and then I finally said, darn it, I have to actually build this thing now. It's like, otherwise I'm always wonder, like, is this a weird little product that I would build for me, or is there a larger part of the flight sim community that might be weird, that might have that weird mindset of like, I want to be mobile with my flight simulation as well. And so I prototyped it in my garage, and I was literally etching circuit boards using muriatic acid, like pool cleaner, and using copper clad, using ink toner transfer paper, and building the circuit boards completely in scratch. And the reason why John mentioned the Walter White persona is I literally was wearing the 3M respirator, the goggles, the lab coat, and everything.
With those etching chemicals, you have to, yes.
Yeah, you do. The stuff's not lethal or anything, but it can burn you a little bit if you're not careful. And so, I'm sure some neighbors were concerned that I was doing something, less than legal, but I assured them, no, I'm just prototyping something. And sure enough, when I got the 3D print and the circuit boards and the soldering all assembled together, I tried it out, handed it to my brother Dwight, and said, and basically became convinced maybe I might have a product here. So again, it just kind of snowballed from there, but that's how the concept came about, is just mostly I wanted to be close to my family while I flight simmed. I don't want to just shut myself into a den somewhere. I actually kind of wanted to at least be in the living room or the kitchen table, be where my wife and child were at least, because that was kind of a nice compromise. I could still flight sim, but not be away from them. And also being mobile and taking it with me on the go.
It's interesting how it comes about. I mean, the need for something starts with, wait a minute, there's nothing on the market like this, as you said. And that was my first reaction too when I first looked at it. Same with Noiseboy Mike and Wambi also, when I've talked to them about it, and they just said, yeah, there's nothing else like it. You can see some of the questions already coming through when we haven't even demonstrated in the sim yet. And you can see in there that Surly Dev says, he doesn't want to be mobile with his flight sim. And that's going to be a big crowd too, that they have everything at home in a big PC sitting in the corner or in an Xbox, and they're not going to take that on the road. But there are plenty of times, and we've got CDL in chat with us. We've also got Jane in chat with us too, I think. Hi Jane, how you doing? Good to see you. Guess who introduced me to this product and these fellows, huh? It was you, Jane. And Mike and I went over to take a look at this in their booth. But the point is that there are a lot of people who, if they had the chance, would take it mobile. And a good example of this is all the flights I've done in business. Every week I was flying in and out on business all over North America as an IT trainer. And I'll tell you, I could have had a laptop with the sim on it and this controller for all of those flights and had a ball. And you can tell with some of the fun stuff that can come out of this when someone looks over and says, "Are you flying this plane?" And I would say, absolutely. So they don't keep bugging me, But, that would be a lot of fun, wouldn't it, to actually be flying a plane while you're inside a plane? And, those kind of things, right? It'd be just a lot of fun to play with.
Howard, it's funny you should say that, because we've actually, so there's been many moments that have been amazing through this whole process. But the first time I took it on an airplane and was actually flying at my seat while I was flying through the air was sort of, that was just kind of a mind-blowing moment. I've done it many times since. I did it on a seaplane. At one point, I did it on a flight just last week, coming back from the southwest of the United States. And every time we kind of go through this, we kind of find a new use case that we didn't initially expect.
Right.
I mean, the obvious one was at first, well, we give people backspace on their desk. That was the number one. And then we start hearing from folks.
Sorry, John, say that again. Back to basics is what you said. I think something in your mic or your audio went a little warbled. Okay. Say that last sentence.
That people just want to get their desks back. The
desks back. Okay, got it. Yeah. And so the space that they have available is really at a premium. And we know people love their hardware, and there's a lot of great hardware out there. And we're not trying to compete with them. We just think that we have a solution here that gives you back your desk, lets you sit on a couch. Actually, when we were testing on our Mac laptops, we had X-Plane streaming over AirPlay to our TVs, so we could sit on our couches and fly. I think I had the flu at one point sometime last year, and I was just down for the count. But I was able to still sim from my couch, which was pretty awesome. So it really it opens up a whole new world of possibilities. I just tested it a few weeks ago in VR for the first time. You can keep your hands on the controls for the entire VR process. It's so immersive. It's so much fun. I've gotten notes from airline captains who are like, I want to fly in my hotel room on my layovers after I'm done flying the airplane. I got a note from a friend of mine who said, I need this because I only have 15 minutes to fly before dinner, before I have to dive back into parenting, but I don't have time to set up everything, but I want to make a few trips around the pattern. And the list goes on and on. We've Thomas has taken to a coffee shop. We've taken on the road with us. I've done it on a train going between Frankfurt and Paris. I mean, the opportunities to fly that this creates are just virtually unlimited. Awesome. And this is what I'm finding too, is that you can start thinking about, where can I use this? I was thinking maybe a doctor's office, but then you know, those long waiting times in a doctor's office, but maybe not, you know, because then you'd have everybody watching you and they don't want to go in for the doctor's visit. But there are plenty of times when people are mobile. As I mentioned, tons of us, literally millions of us using this sim have setups at home that are perfectly fine, and we're not about to go mobile. But now that we know we can have a mobile controller, could make us tend towards that laptop we were thinking of getting. Now that laptop can also be, make sure the specs are there so we can go fly, you know, and because we know we do have something to fly with it, right? And that's something that I wanted to mention, because as I said, when all my business flights, I have thought about a small, tiny yoke that I can take with me on my carry-on and actually pull out on the plane. I'm on that long flight, 4.5 hours going somewhere, or that connecting flight where there's a, you know, a stopover at an airport for a few hours. And I've always thought that there should be some kind of small yoke. And I thought of yoke because we use a yoke, right? Or a small stick, something not as bulky as what we have in our home cockpits. Many years ago, I thought of this. And of course, I didn't have the knowledge that you guys have. I didn't have the procedures or the manufacturing know-how to make something of that. But there's been a need for this for a long time, and you guys figured it out. So this is actually what's so cool about it. I'm just going to get this plane ready to go so you guys aren't waiting for it. We'll start with that. We're going to start with a GA plane, you guys. And I'll just leave that on the runway for the moment. And what we'll do is we will show, first of all, if you don't mind me just going straight into one of the profiles here, I just want to start out with the GA profile and give you guys an idea. First of all, the quality of the documents is something I've got to just mention right now. I write documents. I also have developers who ask me to polish their documents and set up documentation because I'm an IT writer and a news writer. I can't make a document of this quality. This is awesome. So first of all, I want to say kudos for the documentation. But second of all, you guys, I just want to mention about the fact that you will show us the profiles and what the buttons are, and a spreadsheet that has everything in it leaves this thing wide open for us to see what's already there, what's already mapped, how to get to stuff, but also, okay, let's change that. And that's what we've been doing too. And they encourage this, you guys. This team has encouraged me to go and, okay, if you don't like that button assignment or you're not going to use that button assignment, make it what you want, make it your own. And that's what we've known to do in this sim. We go into profiles, we change sensitivities for our own liking and the own way that we fly. Tonight I'm going to show, right now I'm going to show the GA plane profile, which is just general aviation, small planes like we fly, like Jane flies, like CDL flies in real life, like I fly in real life, these kind of planes. And then I'm going to attempt, you guys, I'm going to attempt to use this controller with a helicopter. There's a helicopter profile, so I'm going to attempt that, and you guys are going to witness it live here on Twitch. And it's going to be pure entertainment. But the fact is that I don't need my expensive Virpil equipment to go fly a helicopter. Now, some of you were on stream last night. You saw us flying a helicopter. We were having a look at the new helicopter from Cow and Sim. I have to think about the number of it because I've been going through a bunch of products in my head today. But we were looking at that yesterday, and you guys saw that I had a collective that I used on my right hand that went up and down. And I also had the normal stick, and I also had the anti-torque pedals. And we were flying a helicopter and having a look at it. We're going to have more helicopter stuff coming up. Probably this Tuesday is a Helicopter 101, just a basic introduction to helicopters in this sim. And so now tonight I'm going to pack that hardware away. I've taken it off and put it over here in the corner. And now I'm going to take the Yawman Arrow and I'm going to go and fly a helicopter. So pure entertainment, you guys, stay tuned. First, we're going to fly the GA plane. All right, so can it pilot a big vat liner? A vat liner, that's, I've heard a tube liner, Super Thai, but I never heard of a vat liner. So I guess you're on Vat Sim with a tube liner. Okay, that's cool, yeah. And it has profiles for, and I'll let you talk more about it, John. Right now we're looking at the GA profile. It has a number of profiles already, everybody. I'll go through this in a second just to show you that profile, but here's what I want to do. I want to just go into the controls option right now and just show you the start of it. I'm not going to take you through all the settings, you guys, because that can get pretty boring for those who are just watching on a channel. But I'll just take a look in here and we'll just see what we've got. As you look at all the type of hardware that you have, just make sure you're highlighted on the arrow. And you can see here I've got my own profile. I've taken their helicopter profile and added or removed some things just because it's some way that I want to do it, right? But the basic profiles that come with it, of course, there's the default profile. And when you get this device, you want to try the profiles the way they are. You want to try those first and then fine tune. And this goes for any hardware. And certainly that's the case here, because just like John was saying, you guys, if you're doing VR and this thing is in your hands and you don't have to look at it, you just know where everything is, you'll want the buttons to be exactly what you want them to be. And they are encouraging us to do that. Make them yours. Now here's the Yawman Arrow helicopters. Now the fact that they give us profiles to start with is awesome, honestly, because we don't have to start from scratch and start mapping things left and right. That is awesome in itself. We can get flying right away, all right? And that's really cool. That person you were just talking about, John, I only got 15 minutes. I got to get back to parenting. They don't have to sit in here and tinker with all the controls and what does this do and what does that do? Okay, I'll just, all that mess just to get flying. They just pick the profile and go. And you'll find that the things you expect to be there are probably in the right place, right? All right, so I just want to show you flight control surfaces, just because the fact that they're actually using the proper surfaces for this. If you take a look at primary control surfaces, you'll notice it says tail rotor axis, cyclic longitudinal, cyclic lateral. These are the extra ones that have come out in the sim recently, of course, for native helicopter support. They are not using normal GA airplane settings in here for the mappings. They're actually using ones made for helicopters, and it's going to make your helicopter experience a lot more realistic and a lot simpler for you. There's a huge difference, and I've tested this thing in the short time I've had it. I've done some testing. I've taken this with helicopters using standard GA profile, and I had a hard time keeping that thing going. I changed it back to helicopter profile, and somehow I'm a better flyer. So this is the kind of thing I was finding already. They have figured out the fact that these are the proper things that you should be using. All right, so that's pretty cool. Hey, SimTom's here. Yo, how you doing? Wow, look at the crowd we got. You guys, this is cool. Welcome, 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 welcome. So there's the profile. I'm going to just come out of there, you guys, and we'll just go back. Let me just go back to make sure that I'm back on Howard GA. This is my modified GA from their setup, and then we'll go and take a look at this as we go along. So, John, Dwight, you guys, what would you like to say now as I start to get ready to take off here?
You know what? I would just say, because probably a thank you, because you were really helpful in actually developing the GA profile to really get it to where we wanted it to be. We knew that we wanted to have an intro profile to get folks involved and really flying quickly, and so it really helped us get to where we are now. So so credit to you on getting this profile in people's hands. So thank you for that. And so go fly.
You're welcome. Yeah, I didn't know I made a difference. That's great. But I'm sure you've talked to other people. Certainly helicopter profile, you don't just throw that together. You must have done some testing, got some feedback, and I'm sure you've got a pool of people who have helped you with this stuff, and friends that you know who already fly. And it really does help. Now, CDL's in chat right now. If Allison does show up, they've all been flying real planes. They have their pilot's license, the same as I. That makes a big difference when it comes to the sim, because we know how it's supposed to work in a real plane, how anything is supposed to work in a real plane, and then we apply that to the sim. And I base my lessons on that too. So when I start using this in GA, I find that we needed a simpler set. These guys have given us everything we can think of with these sets of buttons that we have here. Everything we can think of is here. But if we were just flying the plane like this right now, and all I want to do, I don't want autopilot, I don't want to go to anything in autopilot, I don't want to go to nav, I don't want to do my approach or ILS, or none of that stuff at the moment. I just want to go fly. What are the basic things I need? Obviously, you guys, we need to be able to do ailerons, elevators, rudders, engine. We just look at those 4 things and go, and trim. Okay, so did I do 5? So, we need those basic things to start with. And that's where they've come up with this GA profile so that we can just get going easily without any complicated buttons or any keystrokes. All right, so just to show you now, I'm going to try to keep this in frame, you guys. It's hard to do when it's live video. I'm looking at the sim and then I'm trying to look over and see if it's in frame. But right now you can see we've got our normal mixture and throttle that we have in GA planes. And what you'd want to do is just go and see what does what. And you can see now as I move, let's just make sure you see that. As I move this slider, you're seeing the mixture move. And if I do that too much, I'm going to kill the engine, of course. All right, and then I'm going to go to the slider right beside it on the Yawman, and I'm going to increase the throttle. You can see how easy that is. The two main things I need for a GA plane are right there, under my thumb. And this is my normal position right here. Now, the next thing I want to show you is we have the verniers on the bottom. Well, how much more do I need? This plane doesn't have a blue lever. Whereas we do when we get to the Bonanza, we do when we get to a lot of the planes that we've been looking at, the 207 recently that we reviewed. A lot of these planes do have the blue lever also, or the blue vernier if you want to call it that. And so this is what I would use these verniers on the bottom for. Right now, I've remapped one of the verniers to be the parking brake. All right, and I don't know if that's in here.
Tilt down the image. I think folks want to be able to see the controls while you're moving. I think the camera for the Yawman is right on top of those.
Oh, I see what's happening. Okay, that's good. Thanks for telling me that. Yeah, I've got it sitting in the middle. Oh, thanks, you guys. Yeah, let's put that up. Sorry. Yeah, let's put that right here. And then you can at least see the controls. Yeah, let's do that one more time just to show you guys. I'll get this in frame. There's the mixture lever there, and you can see it moving on the plane. Sorry, it looked really good on my screen. And you can see I just killed the engine because of it. And then here's also the throttle. I'm going all the way up and then all the way back. So very easy to use. These on the bottom, you can map them to anything. I could map one just to a parking brake. And then I could map this one to the blue lever if I had one. And as you can see at the bottom of here, which I would use with my thumb, let me just bring it down like that. Right here is my trim wheel. Now that part, I would have to say to the developers, was the part that the only part that wasn't intuitive. Typically, I'm flying with this thumb right here. You can see everything moving. And then I'm trying to trim. So typically you set your attitude and then you come down here to trim. And you can see that when I let go of the yoke and try to trim it, it's not in that position anymore. So what I learned, and I learned this at FS Expo while I was playing, I would set my attitude. Let's say I'm climbing right now like that, and I would just reach down with my thumb while I'm still holding onto it, just reach over and trim with my thumb. You can see my thumb behind my other thumb. So I learned to do that, and then it's fine. And I learned to do that, and now it's easy. But at first I thought, ooh, why is it way over there? And I would expect that it would have been right here under this thumb. I expected it would be over here. But the fact that I can just reach over like this and trim it, and you only trim after you've set an attitude anyway. Once I'm straight and level, tiny trims after that. So the trim wheel is super important. I'm glad it's there. And I've learned to adapt to that. And I'm just going to be honest, that's the only part I had to look down and figure it out. And now I've got a plan, right?
Well, it's actually so interesting because when we went through our design, there are two reasons for why it's where it is. It deserves a bit of explanation. Number one, you ran out of space on the other side, and we thought having throttles close at hand on your right thumb is going to be the thing that you were going to use the most, especially on takeoff or landing, to really have that right there. But we also figured, so I have about 50 or so hours in a 172. When I go to trim, my hand comes off of the throttle, and I have to again take my hand off the throttle and then bring it down to the trim wheel. So we wanted to sort of mimic that ergonomically to some extent. That you're never going to take your hand off of the thumbstick, because obviously you might not be trimmed out, or you're trying to hold attitude. But to really have that kind of motion, really kind of mimic what it's like to be inside of a 172 cockpit. It was very deliberate. But we also have a profile that has the trim on the thumb switch, just like on big airplanes, business jets, and airliners. So you really kind of get that same kind of thumb trim feel without having to move your hand off of it, so you can hand fly and do the trim as well. So we wanted to make sure people could do it both ways.
Super. I want to show you also, you guys, there's your typical kind of you've got an official name for this with the little pointers. The button in the middle is your inside-outside button, which is very handy. There's times that we do that. There's times that we're in a group flight and we want to just see who's around us. And that beautiful looking from outside the plane, as I just did now to show off the rudder controls. And then I think the parking brake is right here with these two bumpers, I think is the default profile you guys have changed, right? So we'll take a look back inside again, and I'll just take a look to see if there it goes. Right underneath the yoke, you guys, you see the emergency brake now is working. That's both bumpers. Now, as you guys saw underneath, you saw the rudder pedals working right there beside John's picture. You see the rudder pedals kind of moving. But we also have the right brake, toe brake, and we have the left toe brake. I don't know if that's your profile or if that's mine, but you know, I've modified a couple things when I've been testing, so I'm not sure which one's the defaults, right? Now,
both actually.
I'm about to take off, but I'm going to just show you guys in the manual. Well, I won't go through the manual and drag it out, you guys. You guys can look through the manual, but what I'm going to show you is that how well they've done it. They've given you the labels right on top of the actual controls, and they've talked about how they figured everything out. All right, now I'm just showing you live, so you don't need to read all of this stuff. I like how they call it the multifunction 6-pack up here. Beautiful. And as we go along and look at the profiles, you'll notice that they do many things. All right, here's your button ID. And one of the reasons for this diagram is because of the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet, and all I did in the spreadsheet was say, okay, where's my brakes? Because at first I didn't know where anything was. Where's my brakes? I just search for brakes. I look over, oh, it's button so-and-so, and away I go, right? And so this was really important to know how they labeled them and who knew that it was button 7 unless you run the game controller program, right? Here's the base mapping. Now, let me just, hold on. I'm not going to have us go into each one of these. And you notice that they've given us multifunctions by giving us a first press, second press, etc. So there's a lot more things you can do once you get comfortable with it and fly with it and do the basic flying stuff. Now you can go back to it now and say, okay, let's start thinking about autopilot. How do we make that happen, right? And so as you get going with this product, there is a learning curve, but as you get going with it, you can do everything. And I haven't found anything yet that I can't do with it. And I still haven't discovered everything. I got lots more to do, right? So there's lots of things they've got already put in here, and they've got great diagrams to show you. All right. So now I'm not going to go any further in the document. It's boring to sit and watch it on screen. It's better if you could open the document yourself and study it. Let me get the plane going again, and we shall get rolling, you guys. We've got a parking brake on right now, so I'm just going to undo the parking brake. I should start moving a little. And let's get this camera going again so you guys can see what I'm doing. All right, so here's my throttle over here. My mixture's already rich. I'm just going to increase the throttle. I better get a better view here because I can't really see where I'm going. I've got my head tracker, and I'm going to keep the head tracker off just so you guys don't get nauseated. And now I'm using just the triggers at the bottom to control down the runway. All right, you can see I'm going right, left. Okay, that's working great. I want to test the brakes. I'm going to cut the throttle. And I'm going to give it the parking. Actually, I'm giving it the parking brake. That's it. But I'm doing both brakes. And it should stop. All right, now I'm just going to release the brakes, give it full power again. This time it's full power. And I'm going to go, see if I got that in the camera. And I'm going to go off the runway. That's where I'm going to go, you guys. All right, let's go fly. This is what we're here for. And I'm going to only fly with the Yawman, you guys. So there I'm just getting it in the middle of the runway, getting up some speed, getting to 55 for my rotate right there. And I'm going to lift off a little. And you can see the nose came up already, and I'm pulling out around 72, 74, whatever that normal is. Now, if I let go of, you can see my left thumb is now flying the plane. If I let go of it, it'll go to whatever my trim is. My trim is there. Wow. Okay, so I'm going to pull back up again. I've got a good sensitivity here because I'm not used to thumb flying, you guys. And that's intentional. I didn't want to pretend I was really good at this. I didn't want to practice a lot and make it look smooth. I wanted to show you that I'm not used to flying with my thumb. Now I've got my other thumb over here, and I'm going to trim this for my climb. So I'm just going to trim again. I'm just a bit too high in there it's somewhere around 72. And I'm just adjusting the trim and letting go. And now I'm actually hands-free. All right, I'm going to move that over a little bit to the right. And I'm flying hands-free because I've got it sort of trimmed. All right, 81 coming back down to where it should be around 74 for takeoff. And now I want to just correct as I go along a little bit. So now, just like in a real yoke, I'm not holding that attitude and trimming. And then holding the attitude, I'm not messing around for a lot. I'm just setting it and even doing relaxed flying, hands-free. Now I can just go and enjoy the scenery, see where I am. And now at this point, I want to level off. We're coming over Lake Tahoe here, and I just want to level off. I'm just going to level off with the thumb yoke. Am I showing that on camera? I'm not looking at the camera, sorry guys. So I'm going to level off using my thumb. You notice tiny movements there, tiny movements, and you can change your sensitivity, of course, in the controls somewhere around there. And I'm reaching over with my thumb, and I'm just going to trim that. And you guys can see I'm kind of struggling because I don't fly it every day. All right, but I will fly it more and more, and every day I am practicing some more. And now I'm just going to trim it for level flight. And then I'm going to pull back and say I'm going to stay somewhere around there. And I was actually having trouble trying to level it off here for some reason. There we go. And I guess I had the trim wheel really cranked because there it is, nice and fine-tuned, somewhere around there. And now I can just give it a bit more power. But, you know, the idea behind it. Now let's just go do a coordinated turn, you guys. So for those who haven't used the G1000, this little tiny button you see down here, I might have to calibrate it, by the way. I see this thing's off to the right already. But this little tiny part of the anvil is what we're going to use for our turn and ball indicator. There's a left rough, just a coarse left rudder, a coarse right rudder, showing you from the outside, coarse, whoops, there's aileron, hold on. Coarse left rudder like that, coarse right rudder. So, you know, what a mess. So now we want to do a coordinated turn. Maybe this is the best way to show you first. So now I'm going to turn a little bit with the aileron like that, and at the same time give it a little bit of rudder. And there's a coordinated turn using the controller. A little bit of up elevator because I'm losing some altitude, and there's my coordinated turn, no more than 30 degrees, using the Yawman Arrow. All right, now I'm going to go back inside and just see what that looks like. Oops, a little too steep there. And I'm just going to step on the ball and get that turn going. Trying to get that anvil back in the middle, you guys. I don't know if I've got wind or what, but I'm kind of all over the place here. But that's the idea behind it. Now we'll go to the right, we'll do a steep turn. Let's see if we can pull that off. Steep turn, lots of up elevator, maybe a little bit of power. And now let's just get this thing going right around on a nice steep turn, like that. These are the things you want to try to see if you're good at it. I mean, to see if you can manage it properly. And after a while, you can just do this without even thinking about it. You know, if you already know how to do these things in real life, or you know how to do these things in the sim, there you go. Now, a big test, you guys, and you guys can mention it in chat if you want. I can't read chat while I'm trying to fly, as you guys know. What I want to do now is find the airport and see if I can actually land this thing. I mean, there's the big challenge, you guys. Bring it down gently and try to actually put it down. What do you think of that? And Surly Dev says, how's the build quality? This thing is rock solid, you guys. I'm not feeling like a cheap plastic toy. And that's something that I look for when I am looking at products. This thing does have a great feel to it. It's not too heavy, but yet it's not this light thing that could easily just fall out of my hand. So I'm not saying that because we have the developers on stream with us, you guys. I'm just saying the feel of it. I didn't think much of it already because it just feels all fine. It didn't stand out as something that's wrong. So does anybody know where the airport is? Oh, there it is. Okay, I see where it is. I know this area. I live here. Actually, this is just to my left here is where my home is. I got to fly over my house. But, oh, there it is to my right. Gee whiz, what am I thinking? All right, so now I want to work with flaps, you guys. So I'm just going to use, oops, back to here. I'm going to use the flaps button. You can see up here, I'm just using these two. I've mapped them, or they've mapped them right here. All right, now I'm not going to make that runway now, but I'm going to cut power right away. I'm going to start giving flaps. You can see the flaps come down, or maybe is that my mapping? There's my mapping. Okay, I'm using my profile, not their GA profile. Their GA profile actually puts it right here nice and easy, where your right hand would normally do the flaps. Right here, these first two. All right, so I must have mine, which I originally put mine down here. And now I've just got power cut. I've got some flaps, and now I'm going to just try to get this thing back to steady again. Let's see what that looks like from a normal pilot view. Well, 81 knots. I better put more flaps in. Or I better go around. Many months of toddler testing. Is that what it, okay, toddler testing. All right. So here we're coming in a little hot. Let's see if we can bleed it off as we run, or we'll do a go around, you guys. And you know, with a go around, it's got to be full power, flaps up in increments. Or if you're on the ground, you can put all your flaps up before you take off. Let's see if we can do something with this and come on in here at Kissimmee Airport. This is also the airport where Jane flew with Zach and I. we flew out of here in the same plane we're in right now. Now I'm going to bleed off some energy first right here. Get it down to 60 or so, and I just dropped it too fast. And the sim said, oh yeah, I'm going to pause on that one. There we go. That was a little better now after the first bounce. And now I got to use my rudder to make this thing happen. And then I can use my brakes to turn off anytime I want. And I'm over here now at Sun State Aviation, which is right here. So we're going to fly out of the same airport. We're going to use a helicopter next. Let's see if I can get around here. And I'm doing all of this, and I wasn't holding it up to the camera. Doing all of this from the Yawman. I didn't touch anything else in my home cockpit to make all that happen. John, I hope that was okay for a demo. There was nothing rehearsed there.
That was great. That was excellent. That was awesome.
And it wasn't recorded ahead of time, you guys. What you just saw was live, as we do. An urgent dental appointment after that landing. Yeah, no kidding. The left or right brake. Yes, absolutely, DH. The left or right brake, if you can see this again, the left or right brake is right here and here, the bumpers as they call them. This is terminology that we've seen coming out of the Xbox controller. And those two bumpers are both together is your parking brake. One at a time is your brakes when you want to do a hard turn, as you guys have seen. And then the bigger triggers here, which are very easy to find. They're kind of dark right now. They're very easy to find. Those are your rudder steering. All right. Now these are also important when you get to helicopters, you guys, because you got to have those anti-torque inputs, or you're going to just keep spinning around. That'll be the next big challenge for me to show you guys that. So let's address some of the questions. I know there were questions before we started the demo, and there were questions as I was flying, but I couldn't read the screen at the same time. I always have to focus, especially if it's a controller I'm not used to. I want to mention this because I'm not used to controlling an airplane with my thumbs. Wambi can. Wambi sits on his couch with his remote Xbox controller, and he flies a plane just for relaxation from a controller similar to this. He would take to this, and he did at FS Expo, he would take to this and find it very easy to manage because he's used to flying with his thumb. Now, for people like me who aren't used to that tiny little movements of my thumb, I can go into the sensitivity settings now and work with those and fine tune it so that I can start flying a lot more smoothly, right? And that's fixable, you guys, in the sim for each person and the strength that each person has in their thumbs and their fingers. Let's see. Let's have a look back in chat. Did you notice anything, you guys, Dwight or John, or did you guys notice anything they were saying?
Yeah, there were a few questions.
Okay, let's go to that for now, and then I'll set up for the helicopter next while we're answering those questions.
Yeah, there was a great question about whether or not the device is wired or wireless. It is wired. It has runs on a USB-C connection, very standard. And the reason we are able to make it as light as it is because it doesn't have batteries. That's a lot of what you're feeling in a standard controller as far as weight goes is batteries. So we feel we made it extra comfortable to hold for short flying, long haul, and also traveling with it. And so we wanted to, we didn't want to add weight for weight's sake. Not to mention, if you did an X-ray of this thing, what you would see is a sub-assembly on the inside, and there's got to be a lot of room for all the components to move around. Because it's mechanically linked, we couldn't just put filler in there to give it an artificial feel. So what you're really feeling is all of the mechanics inside of this, and we have patented the heck out of it to make sure that we can protect that. But really, that's our secret sauce here. And so, but right now, it's a wired device. And when we looked at our applications and we looked at where we wanted to be, that the people were close to their hardware. They wanted to plug in, and frankly, that made it a lot easier for. Sometimes if you turn off your wireless devices when you're traveling and when you're in the air, and so it just is make sure that you can have that maximum flexibility that doesn't add complexity and frankly just plugs in and goes. We made a plug and play controller. That was the objective, and we certainly hit that right on the mark.
Oh, and SurlyDev says, what's a vernier? Okay, I'm looking back at some of the questions also.
Oh, yeah.
A vernier, you guys, in machine shop, a vernier is a very precise as you turn it, it moves something very precisely, a very fine threaded device, very high precision. A vernier in a plane, the red lever, the black lever, and if there's a blue lever, the levers in the plane, two of them you can actually turn in, like your mixture. You can push the button on the end, pull it in or out, or you can not push the button and turn it, and it will precisely move your mixture in or out, and that gives you fine tuning for your EGT or for your RPMs, whichever method you're using. Same with the blue lever too, when you're adjusting your propeller or your RPMs. Same idea. The throttle doesn't have a vernier, it has a push-pull only, but it has a friction lock. All right, and so when I say, you know, we talk about the verniers, we talk about those controls, the push-pull ones that have the ability to screw in or out also. All right, that's what the vernier means, you guys, in typical airplane talk. Hey, that's cool. That's nice of you to do that, CD. That's great. I'm looking back at some of the questions. I'm just catching up, you guys, as we go along. There were some questions in there about the product itself when we first started. Don't confuse that with veneer. Okay. Veneer. Okay, you mean like laminate? I don't know. What's he talking about? All right, so I'm going to go into a helicopter now and see what that looks like, and I might even attempt some kind of jet. I haven't tested this on a jet yet, and I'm going to take them both from a on the runway started. You guys. I mean, instead of going through cold and dark startup. Oh, sorry, I didn't even pick the right plane. I just grabbed the runway and said go, and I'm back into a GA plane again. Hold on. Other questions. So one of the things, I think I already asked how you guys thought about this. I think something that has to be said is not all of us can go and make printed circuit boards. I think, Dwight, you were mentioning it. You did that, right? Or maybe it was a team effort. But I've made circuit boards for years. I've designed circuit boards. My background's electronics, and I've had all kinds of careers like that. This is not an easy thing to do. First, you have to be able to design the circuit board, transfer the circuit board, etch the circuit board, put the parts on, watch some of them smoke, and then redesign. You know, and you go through that process, rinse and repeat, right? So to be able to do that, even if some of us had this idea, we couldn't make it happen. I mean, how are we going to make a circuit board? How are we going to make the case? How are we going to actually design all of this stuff? So you guys have a ton of resources to be able to make this happen. Did you have to learn that stuff, or did you already have that kind of background?
So yes, there's a lot of moving parts you have to put together. So you have to have like this perfect orchestration of the circuit board and the electronic components that go on it, as well as these proprietary mechanics that not really been done before, particularly with the trigger seesawing system. And then you also have to make sure that there's no stresses put onto it. And we had a very small but very capable team. Shout out to Matt Perez and Paul Salino, who have been enormous engineers helping our project and help get it ready for manufacturing. But there's so many different stress points that would cause wear and tear and could cause things in the circuit board to break. And we were very deliberate to mitigate all of those to make sure that this stood up to all of the stresses and abuses. And as I posted in the chat earlier, we put a lot of toddler testing into this, and it stood up very well to my 2-year-old's very enthusiastic passion for flight simulation. So
that
yes,
helps.
it's a lot of moving parts.
And a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old here. So yeah, it's kid tested, pilot approved.
Kid tested, pilot approved. See, that's the kid test is an important part. I mean, in my younger days, when I used to service arcade devices, arcade games, pinball machines, Pong TVs, asteroids, all those, I used to service all of those. We hammered those buttons. We cranked those things. We've actually seen things break because people are working them so hard. They're so panicked while they're playing games, right? We've seen the same thing with yokes on tables. In earlier versions of yokes, people are cranking them so hard they've actually broken them. And you look inside and you see all the broken pieces inside. So you got to kid test these things, you know, or else it might happen after somebody buys it and is like, what happened? So that's cool. You guys actually did that too. You actually did some testing like that. Let me just pick up one of these, some nice little helicopter, and go somewhere. So let's go back to the same place, take off from the same place. Let's do the same. My favorite airport, which is 10 minutes from my home while I'm here in Florida. This is Kissimmee Airport. and we'll take off from there. And let's go fly a helicopter now and see if we can find the Disney castle. No, I'm just kidding. We won't go that far, right? Docking station for future expansion, Vince Mitch says.
Love that idea. That's pretty cool. Well, it's funny. One thing you can do. So there are a bunch of different ways to hold the arrow. Believe it or not, it's not just one way. So we found that if you're just sitting on a couch, cool, awesome, fly like this. If you're on the go, fly like that. But it also very deliberately sits really nicely flat on a desk. Right. And what you can do if you're flying really longer haul, let's say you're in a PMDG 737 or something, or another airliner, you can really, or even just a business jet or anything, you can just really kind of put it flat and then put your hands over the top of it. And you have your thumb and your index finger to fly with. And it's really, really, really comfortable. And you can leave it there and it doesn't.
Never thought of that. That's actually right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
So ergonomically, we wanted to give that flexibility. So we like the idea of having it be a desktop throttle quadrant, yoke, rudder pedals, all in one, and with an emphasis on desktop. Right, it's all right there for you. So you get it really all at your fingertips. The goal is, it's so funny when we went through this whole process. We were thinking about the role of immersion, right? Because it's a sim, right? You want to get into it. You really want to expose yourself to feeling like you're flying a helicopter, you're flying an airplane. But what we realized was the things that took you out of the immersion process was not necessarily if you had a controller or you had a joystick or you had a yoke or rudder pedals or throttles. It's actually the movement of your hands off of the hardware that you're using to fly and onto a keyboard and mouse. And that's the thing that breaks the immersion, because your brain is in a certain mode, and then it goes back to a totally different type of interaction with your aircraft. So to be able to put all of this together, I'm biased. I know that. I 100% know that. But it's become the only device that I've been flying with. And because I feel like I'm able to get the kind of immersion that I could also get with all of the big hardware I have it too. But it is having everything right there just feels awesome to be able to, again, use the desktop to do everything that you need to do, whether it's, again, basically flying the airplane or getting into the advanced autopilot controls, cursor mode and flight simulator, all of that, to really be able to, or flying around in a drone or whatever. So long way of saying, I love the idea of hardware expansion on a desk. If you can think of what to do on top of this, I would love to hear it, because we're always looking for ideas for where we go in the future. But right now, you have everything you need right at hand for your flying.
Beautiful. Now, before I get going, I see what I did. I spawned in without picking the right profile. So let's go make sure we've got the profile for helicopter. It's already running, everything's good. I just checked all the instruments and we're ready to go. So I just want to make sure I've got the right one here. Right here. And we're going to pick, this time, the helicopter profile. Now I'm using the Howard helicopter because I remember where those are. And again, it's to start with, you guys, just like I'm doing, start with something simpler, the controls that you need. Worry about autopilot functions later, worry about all the other things that you might want, and then work with it. Right now, if I just use my right thumb views, view left, view right, I'm on the outside. Now I'm going to push the button over here to go inside the helicopter, view right, view left. Oh, that still doesn't work there. Okay, so I'd want to change those. So maybe it's over here. Oh, there we go. There's some views there. Let's go back to here. Okay, and back to here. There we go. That would be my normal helicopter view. All right, let's see if we can make a helicopter work. The one thing I forgot was, what did I use this for here? Oh, one of them is for, this is for landing gear, and this helicopter doesn't have landing gear. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm going to try. Now I'm going to give it a little bit of left input. Let's see if I can make this work under the camera. That's hard to do, you guys. Watch the camera plus watch the screen for sim flying, and especially for a helicopter. Now, I don't have my feet on the rudders. I'm going to use fingers for the anti-torque. I'm going to use throttle right here. And I've also got my collective. Now, that's what I didn't check, right? Where's my collective? Okay, 1 second. Got to make sure I can see where that is. Right here. There's the collective, the stick on the side that makes you go up or down. I just want to check and see what that is. Oh, that's my throttle. So take a look right here, you guys, in this part, the grip right here. This is the separate throttle part, and that's this vernier at the back. You can see me turning it in and out. And for those who aren't used to flying helicopters, just leave it all the way full. All right, and the governor will take care of things from there. Then now the second vernier, I'm on the second vernier now to see what that does. And as I pull it or push it, nothing happens there. Now I'm just going to try these two sliders. I'm going to try the first one, pull it back, go forward. The second one, there's the collective. All right, so the collective is right here. So what I need to fly right now, I need the collective and I need the cyclic, which is right here. And the cyclic's now going to move left, right, forward, and back. All right, and that's the cyclic you'd find. So now I see cyclics here. I've got my collective right here. All right, so I've got both of those. And I'm going to have to coordinate my anti-torque as I take off right here with my finger. This is harder now than a fixed wing plane, because now I've got to use all these inputs and try to make it stable. So let's go back to a normal view like that. The best way to show this for the moment is from this view right here. I'm just going to get it into a hover with some, first of all, without any left rudder. Let's see if you guys can still see my screen, my video. All right, so no left rudder, a little bit of collective. Light on the skids, I'm up, I'm down. All right, a little bit. Actually, I didn't have to put much left anti-torque in. So now I'm just going to put a little bit of anti-torque in like that. I'm going left. I'm just using the rudder pedals, if you will, you guys. Whoops, I better pull back a bit. And I'm doing some, actually it's pretty stable without any input right now. So there, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to trim it so that I can stay in a forward position and travel. Let's just trim that to about here. And it doesn't seem to stay there. I haven't found the right trim spot, you guys. Just give me a second. You can see me trimming with my thumb. And I want to travel now over towards my house. There's where I'm headed. I want to show my wife my new helicopter and my new controller. All right, that's getting pretty stable. Now I'm just going to use right anti-torque. And I'm just going to just turn the helicopter. I'm going to do really coarse right anti-torque. I better pull up a bit. And there's the airport. Ooh, look at that. That would be good for anybody who's in the helicopter with me. But I'm doing this all from the Yawman. You can see it in the camera picture, you guys. And then now I'm just going to go left with a little bit of left anti-torque to make it coordinated. Yes, we do coordinated turns in helicopters too. And then now I'm going to try the impossible. I'm going to try and set it down. So I'm going to pull back on the collective. Oops. Watch for your attitude, Howard. I'm going to pull down on the collective, pull back on the attitude, and see if I can set it down somewhere in the airport. Nothing precise, and I better move over from that tree, pull it up a bit, and skid the tail and put it down. They are called skids, right? All right, let's try that a little better. All right, so collector up, a little bit of anti-torque on the left, and we're going. No, we're not. All right, so let's go. All right, let's see. And, you know, this is challenging enough when you have a real collective like I have in my cockpit here at home. But it's even more challenging when you try to do it with your thumbs. Okay, so a little less collective this time. I'm going to try to bring it down nice and gently. So I'm going to do it from inside because now I can actually see my speed. Okay, there we go. There's my speed. I'm bleeding speed off using attitude. I've got a little bit less collective so I don't go too far. And you can see as soon as my speed gets down to 0, that's my forward airspeed, you guys. Let me just use my left anti-torque to get around here a little. And I'm just going to try and stabilize that. I'm going forward. Yeah, I'm pushing the control too much, you guys. It's just a minute little amount of... I'm just going to pull the attitude back again and see if I can stop forward movement. See if I can make this stable. A little bit of collective. You can see I'm putting in a little bit of collective just so that I can come down nice and gentle like that. Pull back. Oops, now I'm going backwards. And now that was a little better than the last time. And now I better cut the collective completely. So better than last time. I didn't lose my teeth on that one. So now I'd want to practice again. And so the point is, you guys, that you can do everything you need to do with the controller. You just have to, it's all in the operator. So now I want to do it one more gentle one like this. A little bit of anti-torque I'm putting in already. I'm light on the skids now, and I'm going to go forward and give it full power. And that looks scary from a helicopter point. Well, it really is scary. Hold on, you guys. From a helicopter point of view, that's pretty scary to see the ground like that. But that's the part that fixed plane pilots have trouble with. I have trouble with. In a helicopter, to go forward, you point the nose down like that to go forward. In an airplane, you point the nose up to go forward, or at least to climb. And here to go forward, I got to go like this. And now it speeds up. You can see my airspeed getting up higher and higher. See if I can make that stable for you guys. And now let's go back. Again, my thumb is overcorrecting every time, you guys. So you got to change the sensitivity inside the profile or get better at it. And that's what I'm going to have to just work on. So now I'm back to level flight. Try and trim that for level. But with a helicopter, and this is something a lot of people say even with normal controls, with a helicopter, everything you change, you have to change everything else. Whoops, I pulled back too far. And what I mean by that is, as soon as I change the collective, I've got to change my anti-torque. As soon as I change the collective, I got to change my attitude. So everything I pulled back on the collective now, and now I've got to adjust my forward speed so I don't run out of runway. So I'm just going to go like this. Hard on the eyes, isn't it? Because I'm not doing that thumb controller very nicely. I'm going to try and get rid of that forward speed again without going too drastic. Here we go. The plane on the ground going, who is this guy over top? Let's get out of his way. And I'm bleeding off the speed. Yeah, you see him. Yeah, watch out for that plane. Watch out for the tree. Watch out for the building. And then I told you guys, this is pure entertainment. So now you can see I'm losing my forward speed. If this was where I wanted to land, of course. And now that I have no forward speed, I'm pretty much hovering, and I'm going to put it down. A little bit of a cushion with the controller. And I should have done some anti-torque there to get rid of that turning to the right. So this is, third time landing. I've done two before the stream just to try this profile. So this is me in a helicopter with a different controller than I'm used to, and I'm actually controlling it all. And now I'm going to get better at it because now I see how much anti-torque to use on takeoff, how much to use when I'm slowing down. I know where my collective should be now with the slider, and I've also got the trim wheel here. So it gets better with practice, you guys. It honestly does. And I wanted to just show it to you raw the way I'm doing it right now. One last try here. A little bit of forward cyclic and collective. Up I go. Oops. Maybe I should give it more. There. Let's give it a little more that time. That's a sloppy takeoff. But you can see that unless you get control of it, you're going to have some troubles here. Let me try and do a landing now. Pull back. You see, I'm always overcorrecting coming back or forward, you guys. I'm in like this and land. I pulled back instead of forward on my collective. So this is something that's, that's something you're going to have to practice a lot. As you can see what I'm doing here, I'm going to have to practice this thing a lot just to get good at it because I'm not used to thumbs, you guys. That's what you're seeing, right? Yeah, Flox is right when the muscle memory goes in, right? Yeah. Hey, thanks for saying that, Rookie. You fly like this with a flight stick. That's supposed to be more precise. But you guys, it is precise. I want to say this. It is precise. It's just that it's my thumb now moving. Honestly, on the camera, I'm moving so little. You can't even see it right now on the camera. And it's making the front go like this and the bottom like. So I've got to go into my sensitivity settings and numb that down so that when my big thumb is actually pushing forward even just a little, it won't just do these big swings. And that's really fine tuning. Every controller you have in the sim, you got to play with that sensitivity stuff, right? And that's something I haven't done ahead of time. I'm not trying to pretend this thing out of the box. It works perfectly for me. I want to give you guys the real stuff. I need to go fine tune this thing, but that gives you an idea how it works.
Well, it's so interesting you say that because no one has ever put these types of controls in this form before. So no one knows how to do it. It's like flying a helicopter. A very close friend of mine is a helicopter instructor pilot. And she says, no one is born knowing how to fly a helicopter. It is totally unnatural. So when you put the controls of an aircraft into a totally different form, you have to erase a lot of the muscle memory that we're used to, whether it's a traditional controller or using a yoke, throttle, and rudder pedals. So yeah, there absolutely is a learning curve, and I've had to go through it myself, and Thomas has, and Dwight has, and as we've tested this thing ad nauseum. But what you really start to get a feel for is how comfortable it is over time once you get that muscle memory, which again no one has built in. You get my landings are better with this than anything, to be quite honest. At this point, flying with it so much, so it's super fun to experiment with. But also that learning curve is definitely part of it, because again, it's no one's ever done it before.
While you were talking, I thought I would try it again, but it was still a shaky takeoff. And you guys, the funny thing is, and you've seen this before, you guys. I've told you before that off stream I go to practice something and I get some greaser landings, or I do something really well, and then I go on stream and all of a sudden it doesn't work at all, and you guys are going, sure, Howard, right. And that's how it goes. It is how it goes on stream. That's anybody who streams can tell you. I seem to have a tilt to the right here. I'm not sure why, but let me just get. Yeah, I've got some kind of error on my enunciator too, so I'm probably got too much collective going on. That's what it is. There we go. A little more stable now. There we go. But boy, it really is sensitive. There's no doubt about it. All right, let's just take it back to the airport. But the fun thing is, again, with helicopters, it's got the right mappings for helicopters, you guys. It does. And I think that was impressive when I investigated. I wanted to see if they actually did the mappings into a helicopter's kind of scenario. Yeah, I'm still having trouble with the attitude. So my cyclic is all over the place. That's what it is, you guys. My collective seems to be fine, but yeah, that's just barreling right in there at that fastest speed you can go. So I'll just head over here. This is actually Kissimmee Airport Golf Club, and we'll just put it down in there because I have no idea where I am. And that lake that I'm flying over right now, there's about 400 golf balls in there that all belong to me. There we go. All right, now I've got it under control. Now I'm doing a normal speed. Now I can come in and do something decent. Got to do one landing, right? Before I give it up. And then maybe, if you want, we'll try it on an airliner, right? I'm just going to pull back attitude, bleed off that speed, see if I can put it down on the runway. There I am, almost in a hover right there. I'm sliding. I don't want to slide. Yep, I really lost control of it completely. So I did lose it right when I was about to touch down. I gave it a bit more collective. So there we go. Bring it back. Anti-torque. Boy, it's a really hard view from here. It looks better from the outside. All right, let's bring it back. I'm picking up lots of speed. It really is bumpy, you guys. I'm pulling back a little too much to overcompensate. And as I go forward, it picks up all that speed. So look at the speed I'm at here. And somebody in the tower is going, give that guy a pilot deviation and a phone number. Collectives all the way off. Get rid of the forward speed. And we're down. Oh, good thing we got skids, and we got, we actually have floats on these skids too, and that's helped with all of my landings there, right? I am all fingers and thumbs, absolutely. Okay, so Flox has a question. Any ForderLearnToFly discount coupons or seasonal discount offerings in the future? Ooh, there's a businessman in chat there. There was no plan for that. I'll let them speak about it, but there was no plan for that. We just wanted to show you guys the product. And of course, I'm probably not the best person to show it because, as you can see here, I should get more practice with helicopters with this controller. But that was the idea behind it, just to show you that it can do helicopters. Yeah. Now, what I want to also do, you can go ahead and answer that if you want, John. I want to show you guys one other document. They gave me 3 documents with different profiles. There's also an X-plane profile, default profile for X-plane. And can you just explain a bit, John or Dwight, can you tell us more about, I saw you using this on X-plane on a laptop also. So there, I'll have 2 questions for you. One is X-plane itself, and are X-plane flyers receiving this well? Second, the kind of hardware you were using at FS Expo, if you could give give us an idea of what you were using to fly the sim on at FS Expo, because that was pretty decent, the stuff you were using, right?
I think we had 4 laptops or 4 mobile devices, if I recall correctly. So
yeah,
I think it was.
There was at least 3 that I saw, and
yeah.
I think 2 of them were Macs, and so you must have been running X-plane on the Macs, right?
We were, yeah. We had an M1 Mac. It runs X-plane 11 and 12 run well on an M1 Mac. They run even better on an M2. It's a really great experience. We had an Android tablet with Infinite Flight, and we had a pair of gaming laptops, Windows gaming laptops with one. Yep, there it is. That's one of them that we had plugged into our big screen, also, so for everyone to rate everyone's landings And yeah, so we brought all mobile devices. We're actually talking about possibly bringing a couch to really give the right, kind of flying
So
setup.
you're going to like fly in a couch? You can
FS
rent them,
Expo.
right?
Yeah.
So
But there's also some questions about compatibility. And so our core platforms are Windows, Mac OS, and Android tablet. So we've been getting a lot of questions about iOS and Xbox. We are not compatible on those. We wanted to really focus the most open possible device standard on the platforms that would be most compatible with that. So again, if you've got a Windows laptop, if you've got a Windows desktop, you have a Mac laptop, Mac desktop, Mac OS, and if you've got an Android tablet, you're good to go.
interesting, the Android tablet, because I keep thinking about the two main SIMs like Xbox and MSFS. So it's what would they be using on the Android tablet? Like almost any other kind of, like, what were they using on
Infinite
there?
Flight.
Oh, Infinite Flight, right? Okay, right, yeah, the mobile flight.
Have been really excited about this. They love the idea of being able to give their users mobile, double mobile. So you've got your tablet and you've got your mobile controls on top of that. And we're also, I don't want to go without mentioning DCS and also Prepared as well on
That was the one
desktop.
question. Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, just knowing the fact that these controllers that we use in MSFS work in DCS already, I'm guessing, I was already going to guess that this would work in DCS, which is the next test that I would do, yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
So if I can chime in real quick. So to address the PC part of your question regarding hardware that we had at the Expo, I was using, this probably didn't make it into the frame, but I was using an Alienware laptop, and they work. I've had no problems with this brand. This laptop's 3 years old and still running strong. And that's just the one I brought to FS Expo with me. I think we had an MSI laptop there as well. But usually if people ask me what gaming laptop do I recommend, I was like, Alienware is pretty good, just from my own anecdotal experience. And also regarding the supportability, this controller complies to the HID protocol, human interface device. So it should be plug and play. I know I use that term loosely, but your operating system, at least Windows, Mac OS, Android, and Linux, understand HID devices and say, oh, this is a joystick. Or a throttle or a pedal, which is actually all the above, and it's all kind of compiled into one device. So it should just plug into the operating system, and as long as the game or simulator works with joysticks following that very standardized HID protocol, it should work with it as well. So, and that does include DCS as well.
Good to know. It's great to know. All right, so as you've been talking, I've been actually flipping through the manual just to show everybody some of the great graphics and the explanations that you have in here. Here's a section on autopilot and radio control. And you don't have to, obviously in this session tonight, you guys, nobody's going to memorize this stuff, and I'm not going to demo all this stuff, but it's giving you an idea of when we get this product, we're not alone. We're not sitting there trying to figure it all out. We've got this documentation to help us to understand the standard profiles, and then we can modify from there if we want to, right? Depending on how you fly, everybody. One of the first things I want to do is to assign a button as my mic button, because I'm going to be talking to Pilot Edge, VATSIM, or say Intentions. I'm going to be talking to some kind of ATC using my microphone on my headset. And I want to have a push to talk button also. I don't want to be fumbling around somewhere and, oh yeah, I'll use my keyboard. Which key is it? I want to stay with that controller in my hands, focus on the sim, and away I go, whether it be a laptop or my PC at home. I think this is going to drive more laptop sales, you guys. I don't know if you realize there's that side business, right? Because once they have the portability of this, now they're going to say, maybe I can just get a laptop instead. And I did notice it was an Alienware laptop.
Because of this. Yeah, there are people who are planning out purchases right now that are scoping it out because they finally have the ability to do it, and that's really exciting. I mean, the goal was not just to introduce this and let people fly. Of course, it was, but the fact that we can kind of grow the simming ecosystem and the simming community in the process is like the most satisfying part of all of this.
Pretty cool. I do want to show everybody in slew mode. We know we press the Y key And then we just use the same controller for that. You can see there I'm going up and back down again. And then I can go do my sideways and forward. Like the normal slew stuff is there, you guys. That's normal. I also wanted to show you, without even laying the helicopter down, I just hit the Y button. I also want to show you that we can go into drone mode just by hitting insert. And we have our normal drone functions too, that we've always been used to, you know. And that's important to be able to see that, because you don't have to have an Xbox controller like we do for drone, and then also have the Yawman. We can do the Yawman for everything. It's just already there. I didn't have to figure out what's what. I just did my normal, the trigger buttons did the normal stuff that we're used to, up and down, and then using the, oops, wait, I'm not even showing it on camera. Using the normal control for going left and right is there, and then the normal control for zooming back or forward. And that's just the basic stuff that we do with drone. We do other things too, like zoom and pan and all the rest. And then I think it was both bumpers, maybe not, just a minute now. Oh yeah, one bumper for that, one bumper for that. Yeah, that's it, yeah. So I'm just picking up what we normally do with a drone camera, and I see it's already working. One of the things I have mapped in my Xbox controller is the ability to lock onto a plane, or to cycle through locking onto a plane. So I'm going to have to change that on this controller just so that you can see that. And typically I use the D-pad for that. But here I'm not sure what the D-pad, oh, there's the D-pad there. Oh, that's your zoom then. Okay, that's cool. Left and right on the D-pad is your zoom, you guys. And that's a handy feature too. Nice. So anyway, that's good to know. And then pressing the insert key goes back, and I'm sure you can just map a different key if you want. But I just use my keyboard insert key. I wanted to mention that too, because I just saw it in the documentation. It talked about slew mode, and I wanted to show you that in action.
We tried to keep as much of the Xbox familiarity based around the assignments that Microsoft has for the Xbox controller, bring them in here. So there was certainly a degree of familiarity coming in that allows you to really kind of enjoy that. One of the big things we've done is to try to make things universal across the different modes. So you've got slew mode, you've got drone mode, you've got cockpit, external mode. And so for example, if you ever want to zoom in or out, it's always one way or another. It's the left or right D-pad arrow. And if you want to just reset your view, whether you're in cockpit mode or external mode or in drone mode, just do a center press on the hat switch. And that allows you just to reset straight away, no matter which one you're in. And it's just a really nice way to have all of the controls be kind of universal across whichever mode you're in, so you're not constantly having to think about it.
So my center button, and then cycle it.
So this would be, so what you would want to reset this on the hat switch. So over on the side.
So right there, yeah, right here. So I can go up and down like that, but you're saying a push button on there or a push button on this one? Oh, there's my flow. Look at that. Nice. Yeah, that one I don't know, but I was just trying to figure that out. Where are you pointing? Right below the six-pack,
yeah,
right?
right here on the hat switch.
Yeah, right beside. I'm trying to see where you're over this way. No, where are you? Right here. That one.
So just below the six-pack.
Yeah. And you're saying just push that, right?
Yep. Center press should reset it.
Yeah, I must have. This must be my own profile then. Yep.
Okay.
Because it's not. That's not. That just brings up my flow. Yeah. So let's just do that, right? But you know, as you were mentioning that, I want to be able to show those things. But let's go back to your profile instead of mine. But you guys, before they had the standard GA profile too, I was making my own profile, so that's probably part of it. I kind of mess things up just having some fun here.
No,
So
well, we want people to mess around. That's the best part of it.
So even that one, I'm in a helicopter, so I'll use that one. And resume that, and then now I should be able to center press. It still comes up with my search bar. So is my flow getting in the way? Is that what's happening? Yeah. Wherever my mouse is, and I push that center, I push that button just below the six-pack. Oops. Click. Click. That's handy, but that's not what I want it to do. So I would just go back and change that mapping, right?
Interesting. Yeah, it might be interfering with flow, or I should say flow might be interfering with it. But yeah, it should be. Yeah, it depends what I guess you have mapped for that. It might be that could be overlapping there. But
Yeah,
regardless,
I'll figure it out. Yeah, figure it out.
yeah.
So, Nick, thanks for saying that. Great insight. Yeah. Well, it's a real insight. It's nothing pre-recorded or planned. We just, even before we started, when I talked with each of these guys, I just said, we're just going to wing it. We're just going to try it out. And that's what we're showing you guys. And you know that that's what I would do. I wouldn't pre-make anything like that. There is a website. Srap gave you, our moderator Srap gave you a link to the website for this product, where you can go and see it and you can order it if you want. We weren't here to sell it tonight. We're just here because now we're allowed to show it on stream, and it goes on sale on Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern.
Yep.
Thanks for that, Srap. Thanks for the link. Any other things you'd like to say, gentlemen? And we'll probably leave it at that for now, unless you'd like to add more or talk a bit more about it.
Yeah, I think some of the folks were asking about the price, and it's something that we spent a lot of time trying to figure out, and it doesn't come out of nowhere. That's for sure. Making electronics in the U.S. And having a really stable supply chain that we know we can deliver is a really important part of how we put this all together. What I would also say is that so the price is $249, and it's very deliberate. It's not a much cheaper device super cheap device to make, and then we just take all the margin. That's not how we're coming at this. Our approach is that it really is the investment in building in the U.S. and in the security that comes along with that to make sure we can actually deliver product, right? It's none of this is any good if we can't actually get it to you. So there's that piece of it, and then there's also, when we looked at sort of all of the complex hardware that you can get, whether it's rudder pedals or throttle quadrant or yoke, each one or all those together is probably like $900 at least,
or more,
right?
Yeah.
What we wanted to do was come in with a device that could do all of that in a handheld for less than the price of one of those. And so we certainly have been getting a lot of questions about that, and we want to be transparent about why it is the way it is, and we think it's going to be enormously valuable as a tool both on your desk and on the go. So it's something that we've, again, like I said, getting a lot of questions about. We want to be really clear with folks on where that comes from.
I think that's it. They made it. Sorry for the raid audio. John, Dwight, you guys can't hear the raid audio happening right now because you're on Zoom audio, but when someone raids our channel, that's... And then now here comes the new questions. Now, U Can Do, say hi to the team here who make this, the Yawman Arrow. And he's asking stuff that have already been asked, but they just raided the channel, and he brought 21 of his friends with him. U Can Do is also a streamer. He does a lot of bush flying. He does some competition stuff. He has a very entertaining channel. And he was there at FS Expo, also probably saw your product too. And now he's asking about the Xbox compatibility, right? Yeah, you did. You Can Do. You had your camera on him, I think, at one point. Yeah.
And we know we love that people are excited about this for Xbox. We love that. Seriously, that's what we want to hear. Right now, our product is Windows, Mac OS, and Android, and that's where we've started this journey. We are, what we can say definitively is that we have no intention of being a one-hit wonder, and we are making a commitment to be around for a while. And so this is, we have plans long term that we know we have a roadmap and all the things we want to get to. But right now, this product is firmly rooted for Windows, Mac OS, and Android.
And I want to mention, guys, I want to just circle around and come back to the point where they was talking about where, when you think about everything that's in here, they've given us this, I'll call it a simplicity package, where it's just a simple handheld that looks very much like an Xbox controller. That's because ergonomically, this is what works. They've designed it to sit on a desktop like it is in this picture. They've designed it to fit in your hand comfortably, where all your digits can still work it. And the point is that, as he mentioned, you're getting rudder pedals, you're getting yoke, stick, all your vernier controls, you're getting all of your autopilot functions, you're getting everything, even for VR flyers. And there's a lot of VR flyers, you guys, that are using VR headsets. And as you know, with VR headsets, you can't fumble around, be looking for hardware, or it's out here somewhere. And so thinking about all of that functionality in this easy to use handheld, it's going to be around that price, maybe even more. They probably could have priced it up around the $400, $500 range. When we see that, I don't need to buy all that other stuff and fill my home studio. I'm going to just get my VR headset and this controller and maybe even a laptop, and I'm good. And I've got my
Howard,
whole setup.
If you allow me, this was a really wonderful happy accident the other day.
A happy accident. I've never heard of one of those. Elaborate, please.
Yes, it is indeed. So, so for my birthday, my wife got me a VR headset, and I got a Meta Quest 3, and I was really curious to try VR with the Arrow, and it worked magnificently. And so, one thing that I really wanted to do was, as I was looking at the package that it comes with, I was really curious how it all fit together. Well, here's my. Well, that's. Let me turn off the blur, because I think that's probably causing some problems here. Background effects. No blur here. Okay, there we go. No blur. Let's see. Okay, so you've got this. That's not. I didn't plan for that to fall out.
Clunk. You had.
Okay, this. I did not plan this. I swear. But if you get your controller in there, it all is packaged in there beautifully, right? It also fits your Yawman Arrow like it belongs there.
It fits like it belongs there, and that wasn't your design philosophy.
That was not
on the drawing board. You've had this. Been working on this for years, and you didn't even realize it.
Slides right in there,
and then you can close it, and it's still in there.
Yep.
And
so
wow,
now
it's like a bonus. So that's your surprise accident, right?
Exactly.
That's
happy
cool.
accident.
Happy accident.
So
take that on the road, and away you go.
Exactly.
I do want to leave you guys with a thought here. As you know, I was at FS Expo last year. I did some speaking there, and I'm talking with the organizers this year for trying to get something to do with a competition, maybe with Who Can Do, Foxtrot. I mean, there's a few of us that might be doing something like, let's do a bush flying competition or stole landing competition with the e-stole. And, there's all these ideas we're throwing around, and we're going to bring a survey out and send it to everybody. But I was thinking that the portability of laptops and the Yawman would now make a perfect marriage for expo exposure, like you guys did in your booth with 3 or 4 machines. I'm thinking of a whole panel where people can sit down and compete with each other using this Yawman, something that could happen like that. And that if you guys, you don't have to agree or jump in or commit or anything tonight. I'm just saying, think about that for a second. The exposure you'll get with a few thousand of us showing up at Expo and seeing everybody using the Yawman to do bush landings and getting good at it and getting the leaderboard and all of that. I'm trying to get PC or laptop makers to jump in and start donating some hardware for that. And so maybe we can make something like that happen this coming FS Expo in June in Vegas. So that's something else to think about too, because that's the portability we need. We're going to some other place other than your home and still flying. So, that I think there's a fit there, and I think there's also some exposure opportunities. So just something like that. Something to think about.
We're super excited about Vegas. We're already planning some fun stuff for that weekend, and it's going to be really fun. It's going to be great.
Always, as always. There. And now you're going to have bigger lineups at your booth, because I'm sure last year they didn't know what that was or why you were there, right? Unless they went up to talk to you. And then they saw it and went, ooh. This year there's going to be lineups now because the product's out, and people will show up who've already been using it, and they'll show others how to use it. It's going to self-sell, because you guys just have to be there, right?
Oh man, Howard, you're just energizing me over here. This is great. This is like,
well, I've got ideas. I've been a businessman for 30 years. I know some marketing techniques, but anyway, I'm just excited about it. And people in chat and my community in chat, they know that when I really like something that'll work with aviation, and especially in simulation, then I get excited about it. And this is one of those things, as you guys saw right from the first time I saw it last year. So that's really great. I'm really appreciative that you guys came to the channel, spent your time here talking to this community and letting us see this product in action, and letting me fumble around just to show you that, yeah, even Howard can do this with thumbs. Then I really appreciate the fact that you guys did that and spent the time to come here, honestly.
It was our pleasure. And seriously, your excitement and enthusiasm has been so exciting for us. and we wanted to make sure that we gave your audience, carte blanche to ask anything they want, probe about this, dig in, and we tremendously appreciate your excitement over this. And again, this is just raw enthusiasm, and it means the world as we get rolling here. I think when we go on sale on Monday, we feel like folks at Howard have really helped us feel like we have the wind at our back. So it means a lot, especially after 3 years in development.
Well, make sure that your website can handle it, because products have been previewed on this stream that have broken websites before. So that might happen, You never know. Oh. See, we've already got Seb saying, I need one. See that? That's Seb from Coxspur, who recently...
And, Sporty's Pilot Shop is also going to be our...
Nice.
Nice. We are, so it's directly through us and through Sporty's.
You also realize that every pilot shop in every airport, like there's one down at Toronto Island Airport, there's one out at YYZ, there's one out, all the different places around the world that have a pilot shop. There's a market there. You just have to send them an email to start with and just say, this product could be in your shop. People buy yokes in there. They buy the sim product in there. They bought some of my books back in the day before I turned them into videos. Those pilot shops are pilots who actually practice at home. And they'll want to go mobile too, like pilots that are staying over at a hotel for a few days, right? So there's all kinds of... There's so many possibilities, you guys. We could talk about this all night, but we're not going to. Yeah, we're going to stop it now. But thanks for being here. We really appreciate it. There's another CFI right there, Firebird right there. He's a flight instructor out of Oshawa, Ontario, not far from Toronto Island. And that's Firebird, so he's there too. We got lots of familiar names here. There will also be John and Dwight, and I think is it Thomas? Did you say your brother's name was Thomas, Dwight? Is Dwight still there? No?
Hey, yeah, sorry. So
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but that's your brother, Thomas,
that's
right?
Okay.
We don't see on video, right?
It's fumbling for the unmute. So yes, Thomas, my brother, who just walked away for a moment. Dwight, he's the supply chain lead. I'm the engineering lead.
Super. I really appreciate you guys being here. That's great.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you again, really, for having us. This was a lot of fun, and if there's ever a need for us to come on again or something, or if you just want to hang out, just let us know.
You bet. And there will be people in the community that will ask me questions because they know I have one, right? Before they're thinking of actually getting one. So, and I get a lot of mums and dads that ask me questions to get things for their aviation children. I say it that way because all they do is eat, sleep, and breathe aviation, and they can't wait to get a sim. And they're asking me what should they buy and that's going to be in the mix now too. If you want to go more portable, here's a device that you can use. It's a complete cockpit. And I'm just going to casually mention these things. Here's all your options and let them decide. So that'll be now part of my recommendation when people ask what they should get their kids for birthdays and Christmas. So it'll be right in there with the rest of the products.
That's incredibly, incredibly kind of you to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
So any last questions, everybody? We'll go to credits. The credits are still Seb's Phenom 100 snapshots that I took when I reviewed that, which is a very important thing too, because you can use the Yawman on that plane too, you guys. But anyway, that'll be in the credits, and it'll show the subscribers who support the channel. And I'll just say at this point a formal thank you to the team who took the time to come and show us the product today and talk about it. Really appreciate your time, gentlemen.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you so much again. This was fantastic, Howard.
Take care. And don't forget, you guys, there'll be a lot of people coming back and looking at the VOD for this, so there'll be even more that will show up. But thanks you guys in chat for showing up and taking time to come see us today on this special stream that we did today. Tomorrow's our group fly. Come join us. Anybody can join us. We're just going to go fly and talk aviation. Come join us and have some fun tomorrow, 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern. See you then, everybody. Take care.